what I hate, Shug?
Yep.
You know, I hate the word retained. We've got to get rid of that.
Why?
Yeah, because it just means... So if you've previously won the series, you retain... All you have to do is you have to draw the series to retain it, i.e. West Indies versus Australia. The West Indies won the second test, so it was 1-1, but Australia retained. They'd just been, beaten, and Shamar Joseph had a day out and cleaned up the Aussies. The Aussies had to get up with the trophy and smile after they'd just been beaten. So the Aussies, anyway, they have retained. Jared Waitley was correct. The GOAT had a great day, great game. Sorry, on a spinning wicket at Basin at Wellington. I think the New Zealand shot themselves on the foot. They weren't expecting the wicket to be prepared like that, and it was an absolute Bunsen burner, a big turn of Glenn Phillips. Gibbo gave me some interesting stats earlier. Only bloke to take a stumping or a catch as a wicketkeeper, score 100 as a test batter, and also take a 5-wicket haul. So that's pretty incredible. This guy's...
A 5-wicket haul catches?
5-wicket haul is bowling off spin, so he bowled off spin as well. So he got 5 wickets for New Zealand. And I remember spending time with Glenn Phillips when I was working with the New Zealand
What was the
team.
first thing? The 100 was one.
So he's got a dismissal as a wicket-keeper.
Yeah, a dismissal.
Yep. So he scored 100.
Yep. So many people have ticked that box, right?
Yeah, and a 5 for
Michelle
5. So if you get you play for your country, you do well, but to be able to do all 3 forms, i.e., keep, bat, and bowl, pretty incredible. And I remember chatting to Glenn Phillips when I was doing some work with him, and he was on his phone. I said, "G'day, Glenn. He's a really nice bloke." I said, "What are you looking at?" He goes, "I'm getting some hiking boots." I said, "Oh, you like getting up mountains?" He's like, Yeah, no, I do. And I had a look. I said, why have they got the spikes in the front? He goes, no, I like getting up glaciers. So Glenn Phillips apparently is the sort of bloke that goes out like on the back of the horse with a bow and arrow and and scales up glaciers. So really rare, unique cat. But Cameron Green was man of the match. 174 red or not. 174 not.
He got the 100 final ball of the day, didn't he? Or
I can't exactly remember, but it was 174, so big score. Put on a big partnership with Josh Hazlewood at the end. They got a big 100-run stand for the last week, and that basically won Australia the game. The GOAT, the big man himself, 4 for 43. Also backed it up with 41 runs himself in Australia's second innings, and then 6 for 65. Just got the job done. The Aussies just too good right across the park.
Where do they rate this team, Socky?
I think Paddy Cummins, is now really galvanising a team which, I think a lot of Australians are going to be proud of. We're talking about a bowling attack which could be the greatest ever.
Yep.
Sure that it'll light up here on what people think, whether this is Australia's best bowling attack ever.
What do you think?
I think, yes, all of them over 250 wickets each, the fast bowlers and the GOAT, even though he's not SK Warne, the great, the king, we do have the GOAT. So... best 3 fast bowlers, Cummins, Stark, Hazlewood, Nathan Lyon. And then, you know what, we can throw this guy in called Cameron Green, who's 6 foot massive and bowls 140 Ks. Like, wowee, what a bowling attack. Okay,
so if you were to come to the table with a solution or some team to beat it, clearly we're talking SK Warne, McGrath,
Dizzy Gillespie, McGrath.
Dizzy there,
yeah. And then you got Brett Lee. Who, his average probably doesn't quite rack up against it, but he bowled 150 Ks, and he got wickets, as they would say, at the other end. He instilled fear.
Yes.
And, a lot of players would say, the world's best batters at the time would say, who they didn't want to face.
Brett Lee.
You don't want to be facing Binger at, 155 Ks plus. So, I think this team, the way that it's going, the question marks that you've got over this team was about Steve Smith opening the batting. Ticks that box at the Gabba, gets a 90 not out, which nearly wins them the test. Shamar Joseph, as I said earlier, did the job. And we had a question mark over the number 4, Cameron Green. Coming in.
The object, Yeah,
174 not out. So I think Australia's sorted out their batting issues. Marnus Labuschagne, probably going through a rough patch, but he's a classy player. He will work it out. We've got Alex Carey, who's doing well behind the stumps.
Is he under pressure, Marnus, or no?
Well... every player's under pressure when you're playing for Australia. And Marnus needs to find runs, but he will. I have the absolute faith that he will. But Barnow has messaged in, SOK, is Josh Inglis, with his 47 and 136 red, not out for WA at the moment, putting pressure on Carey for the test team. Averages dropped under 30 and has been impressive in white ball. Josh Inglis, remember in the World
Yes,
Cup,
yes.
Alex Carey was dropped.
Don't give a sucker a chance.
Yeah, he was dropped after one game in the World Cup. Alex Carey started out as the keeper, and we went on to win the World Cup.
Tatiana Western Webb, yes.
Yeah, and you were saying, Shug, that we were no chance.
Oh,
you wrote us off, remember?
No, I did actually. I did. And you, they were 0-2.
Yes. They're playing Sri Lanka.
And they were going like a busted.
In the third game.
And we were in the old studio back at the time, and then you said, SOK, I genuinely believe we'll still win it.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't see it.
Yeah. And I don't think that many people could. Another text in here from Matt. I like this when people, texting about cricket, because that's my strength here. Come on, SOK, be honest here. Don't speak nicely of Nathan Lyon. Tell the listeners okay, all right. So he's saying how much of a better spinner than I was than Gary. Well, thanks, Matt. And absolutely, Emma better spin bowler than Nathan. He's just got, I think, 600 more test wickets than I'll ever get.
He's been lucky, mate. He's been lucky.
But what about, exactly, lucky. Paddy Cummins saying, so the GOAT wants to play for another 4 years.
Really?
In footy, what's the retirement age in footy? Sure, throw a number at me.
Mate,
when did you retire? You weren't sacked, you retired. You gave it away. Bad back, wasn't it?
So, retired of not getting picked in I was 26. Now, the reason I retired, a major sponsor at the time, Arseholes, who spent 8 years in jail, Radisson Main, they had fleeced me money. I was on the other side of the world. My head was off. And being a little bloke, you needed to be the fittest or the quickest. And at that stage, I just wasn't either. So
it was rough. But 26, and in football, you could say almost you have a great career playing that amount of time. Nathan Lyon wants to play for another 4 more years. Paddy Cummins has come out and said, you know what, if he looks after his body, he's a big chance. And it's like spinners, they talk about, they get better with age. Yeah. And that's what the GOAT's doing. He's getting better and better. So if he looks after himself, the GOAT, he might be walking out there, getting wheeled out there in a wheelchair. That's what the GOAT will do. They'll just put him at 45 like they did with me at the Sixers, and he can just keep rolling out those beautiful offies. So special group that the Aussies got at the moment. They're giving it to the Kiwis, which I love. Kane Williamson failing again. You know what everyone talks about? Kane Williamson
he's
being in the
average
top
versus
4.
Aussies, not flash.
Shocking. Against any decent team. India,
really?
England, Kane. I love him, and the Kiwis will love. Look, across the ditch, they'll talk about it and go, we love Kane. He's such a hero and all the rest of it. Put him up when he needs to step up and step forward in the big games against the big countries.
Wow.
Where is he, Shug?
Wow. Clip that one up.
Where
Steve
is he?
O'Keefe.
Where is he? Kane, I'm calling you
Williamson,
out. You need 100.
Fool's gold.
Fool's
gold. And Gibbo's off the bit.
Otherwise you're number 4 best batter ever in the world.
Fool's gold. The audacity, the temerity, the gall, the hide of this man here to say that. It's a run home with Joel and Fletch, of course. Have your say, 1300 01 1170 or text 0457 736 736. Make your game day legendary at Fortress. Visit fortress.games or drop into Fortress Sydney.
How have we sorted out our batting issues? SOK, we've just been rolled for 160 by New Zealand, beaten by the Windies. Smith's technique has never looked so bad in the way that he's playing a foot away from his body. I agree with some of that, Murph. I agree with some of it. But when we went into this series, we had question marks over 2 players. It was Smith and Cameron Green. You're looking at a team that's got blokes who are averaging over 50. Steve Smith could be the best batter of all time outside of the great DG Bradman.
Well, statistically, he's second, isn't he?
Well, averaging 60, but he's stood up across. He's stood up, and now he's opening the batting. It gets harder as you get older, and he's going up against the new ball. That is the toughest point. I think our batting's fine, Murph. Western Sydney. Yes, Kane Williamson, please. The bloody Windies gave us more of a fight than New Zealand. Absolutely agree with you there. And a sledge from 046.
And me or you?
How good would the sledge be? The GOAT line comes across to the batsman and says, you want to borrow my glasses. Proper sledge in 4 years' time. On the bowling attacks, last one, Sugar. I'll still take Warne, McGrath, Gillespie and Lee. Geez, that turns me on, that attack. Geez, that was good. That had everything there. The great Dizzy, McGrath, Warney spinning. It had the pace. Current lot just passed. And then you've got Ambrose, Walsh, Bishop and Hooper. I tell you, I walked into... Ian Bishop was doing some commentary when we were at the Gabba. Mate, I tell you, his presence even now, 20 years on from playing cricket, is so imposing.
Really?
Like he's close to 7 foot. and where they would have been releasing the ball from. And when they played, they didn't bowl to get you out at times. They were bowling to hurt, to get stuck in. And this guy is massive. Yeah. And they used to have, Ambrose, who was the same height, Walsh, Bishop and Hoopo, who used to bowl some decent offies. So
Malcolm Marshall.
Oh, yeah, there's a few. And they were really, really intimidating. And Shamar Joseph, when they came over, again, I've mentioned his name 3 times, but that was as close as what I saw to what it must have been to be facing those imposing West Indies of yesteryear, bowling 148 k's an hour. Absolutely incredible. Skip reckons that Inglis's gloves nowhere near Carey's. He's the best keeper in the world by a length of the straight at the moment. So that's from Skip.
Okay, there you go. Socky, just want to ask about, you mentioned the West Indies sometimes would bowl to hurt. It wasn't about getting you out, it was rattling the cage. Will Pukovsky, I understand he's copped another one, has he?
Yeah, so he's facing Riley Meredith, second ball. Caught one on the jaw, probably the ugliest I've seen him cop one of late. Riley Meredith bowls 140 k's plus.
So sorry to interrupt. May I ask, are they going after that teams?
Oh, look, he just made 100 against the Blues at the SCG a week earlier.
Yep.
Right? So he's in good batting form. That was his first 100 in a long time. It is a ball that you go to, but in Shield cricket, you're looking to take wickets. So, yeah, look, and Riley Meredith's strength is to bowl short and be aggressive on a pretty benign, flat Hobart Bluntstone Arena wicket.
Yep.
It's his second ball. Yeah, right. Boys, let's give him one up there to start.
Yep.
And let's push him back and get him on the back foot. Second ball's come up. He's ducked into it. It's hit him on the chin. He's gone down but not knocked out. He has walked off the field, but the problem we've got with Will Pukovsky, and he's in the top handful of batters that would be pushing on.
How old now, 23, 24?
Yeah, about that, yeah.
Yep.
So, he's already played Test cricket. It's disappointing, to see it. And I think he's going to have to make a brave call. And when I say brave, we saw in the AFL, and the name eludes me, that you're just going to have to maybe make a decision that looks after your welfare. Yeah. And it's sickening. And when you watch it, you don't ever want to see it as a fan, as a past player. But it is a part of the game that we play. And, my thoughts are with Will, and I hope he recovers well.
26, Will Pukovsky. Thank you very much, Turi, for that one. 1300-01-1170. Angus Brayshaw has been a name we've heard about this weekend as well.
Sorry, yeah, that was the man that I was talking about that's given the game away in regards to all the head knocks and collisions. And that was an emotional interview to watch him, have to say, I love the game and he could play on for another 4 or 5 years. But, what's the point of that when you've got 50 years of your best life coming out ahead of you?
Mate, on this day 2 years ago, I can't believe how fast it's gone, and B, I still can't believe it happened. We lost Shane Warne. We lost Shane Warne on this day 2 years ago. Do you remember first seeing that, Socky? How did you first see that? When I saw it on social media, and I was just in complete shock. I could not believe that we had lost Shane Warne.
I was in bed with my beautiful fiancée Lex. I wasn't niggling in the back. In fact, it was her the other way, and she told me, no, we were actually at the Crown, believe it or not. I was in Melbourne. We went down for a holiday to the Crown, and she said Shane Warne's died, and I just sprung out of bed like as if I guess you see these people and you think they're infallible in regards to they're going to live forever, and Warney was just like that guy, He would,
But you're
kind of
like, no, he's not really gone. Look, okay, bring him back now. Bring him.
Yeah, and in Thailand, you think, maybe this is a bit of fake news coming out of there, and then he just passed away. And to 52. Be honest, 52. So 2 years, and to me, he gave me a lot of grief with my bowling. But I loved the bloke. Whenever I saw him, how are you, King? He is the king. He was the king. He was my idol. Growing up, and I loved his commentary. And, in my opinion, the greatest spinner that's ever played the game. And
not many people would refute that. I know Mutai Mira's got some numbers, but mate, just and you talk about
2 years
aura and presence. Didn't he have that?
When you walk out in a cricket field, Shug, you've got you've got 5 days, right? And I remember I played Shane Warne in one T20, and he bowled, and it was relentless. I was a young fella at the time. and he was just chipping away.
The mind games.
Just everything. Yeah. And I thought, in my head, I'm like, just put your head down. You say nothing to the king. You bow to the king, but you say nothing to him. But I thought, how cool is this? But I would have thought, imagine being Daryl Cullinan, who used to be his bunny, and he would knock him over with that flipper on that front pad, or as Kevin Peterson, his mate, or just being an English batter.
Yep.
Walking out and going, oh, God, here we go again.
But just in the manner in which he approached it, right? We know he was a superstar bowler, right? But even if it wasn't all about the ball. It was the manner in which he.
They played the man. They played the man all the time. The time they'd play the man, and it was the art of the deception of the hands, and guys will talk about it. He'd move his cover, he'd do his homework on his sledges, he would talk to you, he's in your ear, he's just taking you away for a second, and if he didn't have that, then he'd rip one about 1.5 meters out of the rough. Remember the famous chat where he's chatting with Healy about...
Yeah, I was going to say, it was the last ball of the day.
What are you having for dinner?
Yeah. And Healy's like, come on, mate, let's get on. He goes, no, I want to stress him out.
Yeah, slow it down. And there's a bit of theatre, there's a bit of drama, all bang and bowls. And
we thought the same thing.
Yeah, and that is cricket in a large sense of what it was, but there was none better than the great SK.
I still don't believe it. I still don't believe he's not on this earth. I don't believe it.
I encourage everyone, particularly males and females, to go and get that heart check. He's saving lives even though he's not here, and his son Jackson's doing a great job with those heart tests at the MCG and all around the country. So loving memories of Warne.
Yep, 1300 01 1170. Of course, rest in peace, Shane Warne, who's now been gone 2 years. I really can't believe that. It is a run home with Joel and Fletch with Socky in the chair.